Hello guys, welcome back to Codein. So as I am posting different kinds of videos on the different topics, like that could be probably asked in your exams. Basically this month and the previous videos that I posted in the previous month, I'm just focusing upon the exam point of view because exams are near and all the content that a student need to think is that just give a revision and that can score well in exam. So you do not need to worry, just subscribe to my channel and you will get the regular notification whenever I post a new video. And if you are new to my channel, do subscribe the channel. And I've already posted some videos in which I tell you how to make your brain a compiler, like how you can execute an exam, the output based question, important question of C language. And similarly to that, I am posting different subject language important questions and all that in just a single video, so that it is easy for you to understand and also easy for you to implement in the exam and score well in the exam. So guys, if you like the content what I post, do like it and share it, and also subscribe to my channel, and also spread this video as much as possible so that each and every student gets the before exam tips and before exam content, so that he or she can able to score well in the exam. So guys, do watch the video till the end and also subscribe to my channel and also do like this video. So let's get started. I've been all over what I have checked out about my research. I have found out some important questions that are probably linked with each and every chapter and that could be asked in your exams and are most probably important for exam. So before about this chapter, you must know some of the basic things, like what do we basically mean by a computer, which is involved to perform some arithmetical as well as logical operation and basically control the structure. That is basically a computer. So computer will perform all this functionality. So basically this will be involved in a computer. So as you could be familiar about, you may need to understand the characteristics of a computer and where we can use a computer. So when we are talking about the exam point of view, what questions can be asked in your exam could be the number one question, as you can see on the screen, is what do we mean by an algorithm and what do we mean by a flowchart. So whenever we are talking about an algorithm, what do we mean? Algorithm is basically the step-by-step procedure to design a problem. For example, let's say you want to add two numbers. So what we will do, we will perform a step-by-step instruction, like step 1 will be this, then the step 2 will be this, and step 3 and so on. We will make some algorithm. So basically when we are talking about an algorithm will basically include the step-by-step procedure. Whereas when we are talking about the flowchart will use a data flow diagram. Basically flowchart is also called a data flow diagram, in which we depict the problem in the form of some logical building parts. Like what we will do, we will create first of all a diagram of a square or something, in which we will input the contents of the user. After that we will perform processing on the user. We will use a diamond shape box to tell what is the condition that is used in a flowchart. So these are the things that when we want to implement the data in the form of diagrammatic representation, that is called a flowchart. When we want to make it a step-by-step procedure, that is basically called a algorithm. So that is the difference between algorithm and the flowchart. Then we have algorithm have a beginning and the algorithm have a defined end. Similarly, when we are talking about the flowchart will have a starting point where we will write start, and as well as it will have a stop point. But the difference could be that it could be written in a form of data flow diagram. As you can see on the screen also how we have written an algorithm. I've given you example over here how I can write an algorithm, and also example of the flowchart. That basically difference between the algorithm and the flowchart. You can pause the video also and then learn and understand this question of a good algorithm. So when we are talking about the qualities of a good algorithm, what could it involve? Input and output should be defined correctly. Each step in algorithm should be clear, means whatever we write, we should be clear what we are writing. And algorithm must be not that very big enough, but should be in a compact and a concise manner, so it effectively represent what is the problem regarding and how we can get an exact solution about that particular problem. So that is the quality of an algorithm. The different kinds of generations, like what is the generation, number of generations that are in a computer, that what was the first generation, second generation. Basically that is the generation of computer, that what was earlier used with the computer, then what was the second generation used, what is the third generation. So just to give an overview of the generation, let me tell you that when we are talking about first generation basically what we need to understand, that it was very large in size. And what is the purpose of that was the things that were used in the first generation used vacuum tubes used for circuitry, magnetic drums for memory, and the and they were so big that they were the size of a whole room. That was basically when we are talking about the first generation. The first generation computer are UNIVAC and ENIAC, which are the examples of the very first generation computer, when the computer was in a very large room, basically to solve just a single program. Then we have the second generation computer. Second generation computer are those computer which use the transistor, and they was compact in size as compared to the vacuum tubes. So they were easy to handle, and they were more reliable and consumable. But these were, as compared to the first generation computer, a bit smaller, but they also consumed a large space, and we need to have some magnetic codes also in it, and the generation uses language like Fortran, COBOL, Pascal, etc. Then we have the third generation computer. The third generation computer, the system was used with time sharing memory. The third generation used integrated chips that are known as ICs. The time sharing operating system allowed the user to do multiple tasks at a time, like we use multitasking. Similar to that, we can use multiple tasking, but the thing was that the time was divided. Then in the one period that this work will be done, in the second period this work will be done, and so on. The different kinds of work will be done. Then we have a fourth generation computer. So when we are talking about the fourth generation computer, what did it use? It was using the chips only, but the chips were large scale integrated chips, or the very large scale integrated chips that were used in this generation. So basically the fourth generation involved these kinds of circuit. Then after that we had microprocessors also available in the fourth generation computer. Then we came to the fifth generation computer. Fifth generation computer basically we are using at the moment also, and these are the present kind of computer which use some artificial intelligence also, which are using more of the integrated UL, ultra large scale integrated circuit chips, and also they are semiconductor, and also we can provide multitasking and programming in these kinds of generation. As you can see on the screen also, I have defined what is the first generation computer and all the points defined in it, that what you exactly need to write in it, and then the second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and then the fifth generation, what you exactly need to write in your exam. Talking about the TCP/IP protocol, is the full form is Transmission Control Protocol and the Internet Protocol. So whenever we need to define this kind of question, so first we need to define that what we mean by protocol. So basically protocol means the rules and procedures that two computers need to exchange information, and what rules they need to follow. Basically that is known as a TCP protocol, means rules and regulation that we need to follow based upon the internet connection that we are having, or whatever information that we want to share between two computers. So basically when we are talking about the TCP/IP protocol, TCP/IP protocol is a set of protocols developed to allow computers to share resources across a network. They have a transport layer and a network layer respectively. So the most well-known network that adapted TCP/IP is the internet. That is the best example of using a TCP/IP. Then we have the internet protocol does the following: envelops the address, enable the network, define how much data can be fit in a single envelope. TCP component, what does the TCP component do? Breaks the data into packets, verify whether all the packets arrive at the message destination. It is also add a token number, reassemble the data. Basically when we are talking about the URL refers to the uniform resource locator, and it is the address of the network. Whenever you see on the top of this site, that is called as the URL. Like you go to www.facebook.com, and the whole thing, that is the URL. So when we are talking about the URL consists of a billion number of files. Each web page could have a different unique URL. The two websites cannot have a same URL. Web browser uses the URL to retrieve a particular information. So basically the URL drive into three parts: method, host name, and the path name. So whenever we are talking about the method, the protocol which is used to derive the data, that is called as the method. Then the host name is the computer at which the information will be stored about the data. Then we have the path name will basically involve all the directories through which we can access that particular data. Like when we type www.facebook.com, so what we can do, we can directly go to the path, and it will involve all the directories into that particular site, and we can access that data whatever we are having. It's between internet and internet. So whenever we are talking about internet is a wide network of computers, and it is open for all. Where when we are talking about internet is a network of computer designed for a particular group of users. Then we are talking about internet itself contains a large number of internets. The number of users who use internet are unlimited. The visitors traffic is also unlimited. Internet contains different sources of information. While when we are talking about intranet can be accessed from internet, but with restrictions. The number of users is limited. The traffic allowed is also limited. The internet contains only a specific group of people. So basically when we are talking about internet is where like we use all we are using the things that is basically internet. So when we are talking about internet will be like whenever you are using a network within an organization. Suppose in your universities or anywhere you are allotted a UID or something, you are using according to that, that is basically an intranet. Then that you are using within an organization. And internet is a wide variety of the things that you are using in a particular place that are called as intranet. So as you can see on the screen, also I have to explain to you the difference between internet and intranet, that how you need to attempt in the exam. So when we are talking about the HTTP, it refers to the hypertext transfer protocol. It is basically a client server network protocol. It was used by www since 1990, and it is based upon the request and response mechanism, like I told you earlier also in case of the TCP and IP protocol. So basically what it will happen, the steps that will involve: the user will make a request, the browser sends the HTTP request to the server, then the server check that whether the request is valid or invalid. If the request is valid, the server will respond back the HTTP request and allow the user to access this. And if the request is invalid, then the server will not respond back and set that to check the connection again and enter that accordingly. Then the HTTP will involve also something, that the domain name basically means the unique name of the website, like we have done in the URL case. And then whenever we want to access the internet, we need some internet service providers. So internet service provider are those service providers which basically provides us with the internet connection, that are basically known as internet service provider. You can write out name of various different internet service providers and how they actually work with the internet and what they provide us. So these are some of the basic questions that you can revise for your exam, and that could help you score well in your exams also. And here I list also have given that you should also revise except these questions. I think you must be clear about the different questions that could be most probably asked in your exam, and what are the things that you need to keep in mind while writing that question. So basically how you need to present this question, all I've explained you in this video. And also you can pause the video wherever you want to understand that what I have written in the content, like how you have to write that content, and you can see that also. And also guys, you can follow me on my Instagram page, the link is in the description, where I'm also posting quizzes, so that it's easy for you to take challenges and understand that whether you have understand the concept and how you can solve that in the exam. So guys, if you like the content what I post, do like it, share it, and also subscribe to my channel, and do hit the like button and like this video, and please subscribe my channel. And thank you so much for watching.